Let me welcome you to another episode of the Lifestyle Corner as you are heading into the Independence holidays. On this week's episode, I'm joined by Lorato, Orapeleng and Masego, Mohwasa to talk about the Mokwalo film they are about to premiere it later in this year. Botswana has been in the film industry, has been moving and improving following President Masisi's call. Rawanabatu people are coming up recently in the issue and being premiered. We are talking about another film, or it is 54 minutes long, titled Mokwalo. Let me welcome you to Lifestyle Corner show.
Thank you so much, Larona. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, likewise.
Yeah.
Okay, I just said on the Mokwalo film that you have produced as the producer of the film.
Yeah.
Tell us what inspired the movie and what is the meaning behind the name Mokwalo?
Okay, first and foremost, yes, I am the co-producer of Mokwalo together with Masego Mohwasa. When we came together, she had already written this project all the way from the Multi-Choice Talent Factory, and was a project that she kept developing further. So she invited me. She said, Lorato, I've got this project that I recently got from Multi-Choice, from the call-out that they had. Please come and join me on this project, and let's work on it together. And I was more than excited because I've already worked with Masego previously on other films, as well as we're both alumni of the program, the Multi-Choice Talent Factory program. So when she told me about the story, I instantly fell in love. It's, it's
you
fantasy.
Didn't have any hesitations?
Absolutely not. I trust Masego when it comes to writing. I trust her vision and I trust her ideas. So, from what I know from the script and the story is Mokwalo is ideally, it's a fantasy film, which is centered around making some wishes and, a writing.
Is it in terms of romance or?
It's in terms of a lot of themes, that include your grief, that include, mental health and just family dynamics. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so basically you are taking it is all about fantasy, grief, being in the fields and all that.
Yes.
So that's the name Mokwalo alone hold a significant meaning, or just there to encapsulate everything?
It does hold a significant meaning because in the film you'll be able to see our lead actress using a book and making some wishes on the book, hence the word Mokwalo, the writing. Yes.
As we talk about Masego roped you in after beginning a project with Multi-Choice, maybe more talk about since coming on board with the project, how easy or difficult was it to work with Multi-Choice Botswana as they were kind of like the pioneers of the project?
Well, Multi-Choice has always been a big part of my career since I came back from the Multi-Choice Talent Factory in 2020. So it hasn't been a very difficult process in terms of working with them because they absolutely always give us 100% their support. But of course, like any production, there was some challenges which are set related, timelines and so on. But ultimately, I think because we're here today, it has been absolutely smooth. And we've been able to execute this 52-minute film. And we shot it in about six days.
6 days?
Yes.
Where do you get the time, or was it because of the resources that were available to you that made things easier? As you say, Multi-Choice was there all the way for you guys. Because 6 days kind of shows like a stretch.
I think when there's resources available and the human skill, I think we had a great team of people who are professional and understand what the core mandate is. And when it comes to production, it's crunch time, yes. So when there's money available and there's human skills, I don't think it should be difficult.
So you guys had a huge budget for Multi-Choice. Care to give us a hint of how much was it basically, or give us an estimation?
It's under $1 million for a fact. So it was just a startup because our film was going to air on Zanzibar Bioscope. So it was just a start and a test in the waters to see how Botswana can produce in terms of content. And that's why we need a lot of people to jump. When the movie comes out, we need people to be watching it in order to reflect that the numbers of Botswana are worthwhile in investing into. Yes.
You talked about working with a lot of people on set. So on set you have different personalities, different characters. I can see in your head. I had quite a time. So tell me, how did you navigate through those different personalities, different indifferences? Because someone will come to the set moody, someone will come to the set jolly. So how do you manage to balance the two?
I think ultimately we all know why we're there, number one. Whether you come back today in a bad mood, that's entirely your mood. But as a producer, for me, more times than not, I really try and stay away from the emotional stuff and try and really tell a person, listen, if you're moody today, this is, you're working with talent, how do you think that will affect their character in terms of their acting? So for me, it's just always really stay away from the emotions, just do your job, focus, and really keep it moving.
Were there ever any those encounters or scenarios during the shooting of Mokwalo?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, number one, I think something that a lot of people need to know, for these days when we were shooting, we're all staying in the same location, which was Botswana. And that's where we're shooting some of our scenes, you know, and well, most of our scenes really entirely. But staying in one place, number one, and having to work together from, you know, mornings, basically
for 6 days.
For 6 days, each and every day, there are bound to be some clashes and some differences because we're all human beings. We all have different visions, but at the end of the day, we all know that there's one vision that we need to attain. So it was difficult on some days, but some days were better. And I know a fat crew is a happy crew, so everybody was always fat. That's the most important thing,
So as we prepare ourselves for the premiere, I think it's later in this year, right?
Yes.
So what were some of the strengths or maybe letdowns that you guys encountered during the shooting? And also, what is it that you currently are looking forward to? You also highlighted the number so that people can come on board for more films and
I mean, in terms of letdowns or setbacks, I just think, you know, we are a developing industry. So I think the need to act immediately is not something that's very common with a lot of people. So I think, you know, that was probably one of my biggest challenges, and people not reacting on time and not realizing that the value and how much work what we do carries.
African time in Botswana.
Yeah, we do for sure. But I mean, when in terms of time, I think that one was easily managed because we all stayed in the same location. So, but everybody was in the same location. So time wasn't a very difficult one to manage. It was just obviously there's a lot of scenes to be shot. There's a lot of, you know, intensive work to be put in from both the crew as well as the actors, because it's an emotionally, you know, I don't want to say draining, but it's an emotionally and captivating film. Yes.
Okay, so as we enter into the premiere, as I had highlighted, what are you excited about? And also share with the audience before we head to our commercial break, or where can they catch it once it has been launched and premiered, those kind of issues?
More than anything, I'm excited to see my name on the credit list on a big platform like DSTV. That's the first thing I'm really excited, you know, for. And I think more than anything for me, MultiChoice has continuously put money and their hand into the industry in Botswana, as well as just really having also my core team and having their names also on the credit list. That's really huge, you know. And it's going to air on Mzansi Bioscope, channel 164 on DSTV. TV, so you better subscribe.
No omnibus or...
well, that's something that can be discussed later. But for now, definitely Mzansi Bioscope, channel 161, MultiChoice on DSTV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lorato,
yes.
Let me thank you for coming to a Lifestyle Corner show as we say goodbye to you before we head to our commercial break. And you can also say goodbye to our viewers.
Okay. Oh, now?
Yeah, now.
It's already over. Well, thank you so much for having me. I think the biggest thing that I really want to continuously urge viewers to engage in is subscribing to MultiChoice and actually watching the production in order to be able to keep us going and keep the industry alive for more than anything, because we can only do so much. We can create, but if you're not consuming, then there's unfortunately not going to be a balance for us. So subscribe, it's going to come around between October and November, so just keep connected, just so that you don't have to miss out the actions. Yes.
Okay, our viewers at home, that was me and Lorato Orapeleng talking about the Mokwalo film that is about to drop in, as she said, in October or November. This is us going to a commercial break, and when we come back from the commercial break, we will be joined by Masego Mohwasa. Let me welcome you from our commercial break. As I had said before we went to our commercial break, before Lorato Orapeleng departed the show, I did say we will be joined by Masego Mohwasa, who is the writer of the film, Mokwalo.
Yes.
Masego, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, for having us, actually.
Okay,
yes.
Because two makes a team.
Yes, yes.
Really, before she, as she had joined us earlier, she talked about you are the one who invited her to come into the project and get this thing going.
Yes.
So now you are the woman behind the project.
Yes, so basically, I am 27 Pictures, which is my company, responded to a call out by MultiChoice. Last year they put out a call out for 3 productions. And I submitted this project in Hore. I actually started working on it when we were at the MultiChoice Talent Factory in 2019. So like I said, me there project and then finally I got in, and yes, I secured the funds. I secured the financing. That means
more than
that gives me, I guess, executive producer status, because yes, and then I of course called Lorato. She's always going to be on board because we worked together before. And then we contacted Lorato. Let's go shoot.
Yes. So as the writer, how was it writing the manuscript or pioneering the project? As you say, you are kind of like an executive producer because you secured the funds.
Yes. It was challenging. It was a challenging story to write because it's a very triggering, emotionally triggering story.
Was it your life experiences or you are just?
It's always my life experiences.
Oh, okay.
Every time I write something, I really genuinely believe in as a writer, you should write about things you know about, because when you're talking from a place of honesty and experience, universal truths will always come out. People will relate because how I've experienced something like this and that and that and that. So it's not like exactly things that happened in my life, but my experiences are in the film. As Lorato mentioned, a big part of the story is about grief and how we handle grief. But there are also sub-themes like domestic abuse and, just like denial and, the relationships between Batsadi le Bana ba bone and things like that. I really believe that content, especially television, is declining slightly because we're going away from the stories that bring families together to watch. Because so I think my idea in life and moving forward is to create content that brings people back together, to watch TV together in front of the screen and learn. So it was really about initially it was a story about bridging the gap generationally between Batsadi le Bana ba khona go nna mmogo ba tlhaloganyane. But it grew to become something much bigger than that, actually. When we were on set, I wanted to develop, you start to see the themes come alive, and you're like, wow.
Speaking about the themes, so what are some of the cultural themes? It is about bringing the families together, bringing those emotions that we used to know, where we used to crowd over a small TV on the festivities. So what are some of the cultural themes or the social themes that you guys are trying to achieve through this film?
Yeah, I actually like that you mentioned that we used to gather around the TV, because storytelling is something that's very African. Before there was TV, so exactly, and so basically, this is what happened. So the cultural themes that I really just wanted to speak to one buhitla ba batsadi ba one just sitting how long, especially for me ke dile mo ke le mama sna go tlhokagala ke ipotsa gore can't ke ena sa re bolelle all these things wa one sometimes yes, it comes from a good place. Our parents want to protect us, but it causes a lot of lack of understanding,
like ignorance
and vice versa. As children, how ngwa re tshaba go bua le batsadi ba rona because I don't even think it's I think we need to learn to differentiate maitseo and fear, because sometimes we're afraid to just talk to our parents. And this and that and that. So bridging that gap, because we need to understand each other.
There should be transparency.
Yeah, and right
time.
now in Gen Z, but how can
But they're living their lives.
exactly?
Yeah,
And if you sit down and you actually speak to them, actually have valid experiences, and they should be listened to.
Jack well or 2000 or Gen Z as the accustomed called they're living their lives. Also, this film in Mokwalo, in what way will it resonate with the audience or the audience that you guys are targeting? Or it's just an everyone audience, no PGT?
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna say too much, but I can tell you for free that our first audience was already the crew on set. As we were shooting it, you could see how people were reacting to the story as it was being told, as people were performing, and it was really, really emotional. It was very, very difficult to be on that set. Some of the scenes that I was seeing were triggering to me because I was like, hey, this, that. And it's not just me. And then you realize
took a toll on everyone.
So it stopped. It wasn't my story anymore. It was everyone's story, and people were invested because they're like, no, I know exactly what this is.
That just goes to show most of the African homes we go through the same.
We go through the exact same things, exact same experiences, and you'll see that characters here and there represent different niches of our personalities and archetypes. So yeah, I think from that response, our first point of reference, which is the crew and the cast, we know that there's going to be a lot of emotional resonance, cultural resonance, and yeah, I always thematically like to speak to. I like fantasy because I think fantasy films make concepts easier to digest. I'm a drama writer. I can't write comedy. I write drama and thriller, and I like to add an element of fantasy in it, just so that you can create a buffer or digest that neat because so yeah.
So as we prepare for the premiere, what is it that you're excited about the Mokwalo film, the 52-minute film? Yeah, before we go to our commercial break.
Well, I'm just excited that we shot it. It's our first feature-length film, and I've been manifesting it. I think for the past 3 years, you can say, so the fact that it's finally happened for me is very, very exciting.
It makes you content.
I'm content, but also I think there's a lot of learning that happened on set. How to deal with people, how to deal with crew, how to manage people, not just technically and organizationally, but also emotionally, especially when you're telling a story like this that's very, very sensitive. It was a stretch, and I also just want to encourage creatives to make sure that we take care of ourselves mentally. I think sometimes we push ourselves because we want to try and make money because it's so hard for creatives in Botswana. But it's very, very important that we take care of our mental health, because once you broke, now I cracked. I wouldn't lie. I cracked and I had to go get some help.
Okay.
Yeah, so I encourage creatives to, where you can, go to therapy and just talk things out, because as creatives, and anybody who offers services to creatives, at least just offer us some services, some sort of packages for creatives, mentally, because we honestly go through a lot.
As I had said, we are about to go to our commercial break. Maybe say goodbye to our viewers, as we'll be saying bye-bye to you.
Yes.
And thank you for coming to the show once again.
Yes. I want to speak to the fact that there were 5 multi-choice Talent Factory alumni who worked on this project, including Lorato and I, the 3 other people who are alumni who worked on the project. So I want to acknowledge them as well. Which goes to show Multi-Choice Talent Factory and Multi-Choice is actually very invested in African storytelling. And now we're at a point where we can employ one another to tell these stories. Exactly. So please make sure to subscribe, because these are the results of people subscribing for African storytellers to be the ones who tell African stories. So make sure that when the movie comes out, Mokwalo comes out, you tune in to Mzansi Bioscope. As Lorato said, it's going to be channel 164. Please make sure to watch it and support us so that we can have the opportunity to do this again and for us to employ more people again.
Mokwalo film should be premiered in October or November on Zanzibar Scope. We'll be heading to our commercial break, and as I had indicated before, I will be saying goodbye to her and Lorato Orapeleng. Let me welcome you back from our commercial break. The film Mokwalo. On this segment, we are joined by musician Uncle Nini. Saladira music since 2019 also. Uncle Nini on the Lifestyle Corner show. Uncle Nini, briefly introduce yourself.
Nale music re kopanye ka ene 2019 on tsong mo ke ntse ke dira di pina ke di publisher since then ke na le album tse 3 ke na le di EP tse di na le pina tse 4 tse 2 le di single tse 3
o ntse le busy mo go maswe from 2019 to 2024 only roughly 4 years so ya no ja go bua gore se tsona le di album ka swara 3 di EP ja le di single jalo what type of your music is it? Like which genre is it? Because Afro pop, or like how do you identify yourself?
I identify myself as just a singer. I don't affiliate to any specific music. Kidira any other music that comes. Ke hela gore ke rata Setswana, ke opela ka Setswana.
Okay. O segeditse ngwa ya Setswana e batho ba tshabang gore ya nyelela.
No, ke go tsa one music Setswana sa rona be ke se package differently hela.
Digital platforms. Ja ka re bua le gore tota sa lo dira music since 2019, you have so many projects that you have dropped, but you don't get to enjoy the same limelight or spotlight as other musicians we have in the country. Ja ka re bua le gore kana vime bizumbe ha ka dropa pina mpim batho ba le bantsi ba go itse ka yone. Wena ole maybe it's like there's an upcoming artist. Do you think upcoming artists enjoy the same platform as other artists who have been so long in the game?
It's individual. I haven't been doing enough. It's only now that I just woke up and say, no, let me just do the right thing and find people who are already there. Even sponsor tsela ga tse di beng go ya ka tsela
you haven't been doing some things right now. It's only this year 2024 o simula go hatlola go simula go batla dira dilo dingwe sentle nka botsa gore maybe o go tlhilwe ke eng gore o tse yone tsela ya gore o simula go marketa your music ba tle bone di choreographers because I can see you're joined by 3 or 4 girls here who will be joining you later as you perform.
Tota ke ile ka lemoga gore go botlhokwa gore ke tse go mo enne business ke tse to another level. Business e leng gore ga se business hela ke go rotloetsa ba bangwe go ntle go through my songs, through my tiro e ke tlabeng ke dira ba e bone ka gore go ibela hela ga go mperekele le bona ga go ba berekele.
Okay. Since you simolla gona go tsa tshwetso yo any challenges you have encountered so far a go dinga lo madua khona go bona le madi gore madi a tsena go tota e ja go gore ke business ga no kgang kholo ke madi a ngwa wa
tota kgang kholo madi ga nke nna teng ga nke nna teng me hela ra leka go gore re goroge go bathong ke gone re simollang tota jaanong ke rona ba o retla
ke rona ba iponetseng in terms of collaborations since you have since 2019 have you collaborated with any other big artist and maybe o ga mpola gore ke ba feng ba o eletsa go collaborate le bone locally and internationally?
Ke tota ke tswa pelo wa bona go tentsha makelene ke tsile go motsoma be ke mmona
matla ka patla le
le ene V ke atla go ene ke a go mmatla be ke mmona ebile o nna go bapa le kwa lapeng
ya ke so ra re editse tota wa tla mo kokotela re mampisi go pa feature ao
amen
era ja re se re builano a re ya go netla re tsana mo performance o re performela pina ga go a go bolele batswana la go lapeng ya la re o tlo o ba laele a bo bala o tla o re performela pina FM.
Okay. Pina ke tlabeng ke dira ba gaetswe ke dira ga tsa gompieno e bidwa go nna ga ke yo e leng gore e bua ka botho ja maitsholo a bana ba gompieno e le hela go ba e leng gore ga ba tlotle bagolo e nna hela gore tota re tshwantse go tlotlana go na la go twe maitseo namane ya moroba
ga te tsusulela la sesone go
amen ga o ba jana ke re ano tsenya bagolo mo teng ke bua ka bone hela gompieno
ya nne ke bona se tswana sa re gore respect ya ga one sided okay no ya no a itse o ka bolela batswana gore music wa go baka wa bona kae jalo e be o re fa performance yona pina ya naga ke yo music wa ka o teng mo di social media platforms ka leina la Uncle Nini BW nomoro ke 7176 6370 re Uncle Nini ke re tla go leboge for coming to the Lifestyle Corner show. Our viewers at home, that was this week's Lifestyle Corner show brought to you by Emiren the Mountain newspapers. I go by the name Larna Kaiser and have a wonderful Independence holidays. Catch us same time, same place next week.
Minister Blessed on the beat.
Naga Kio